my prospect's name. Ouch. Okay, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it, but we had to get it out of the way. We had to. Why I Want is back, my friend, and we have ourselves a big, deep dive that I want to start out on a weekly basis in regards to players that are going to be drafted in the 2023 NHL entry draft. So, we've already covered most of the guys at the very tippy top of the iceberg in regards to this year's selection. We talked about Bedard, Michkov, Fantilli, Leo Carlsson, and Zach Benson. It's been a little slower this year, not gonna lie. But, starting with this and this weekend, we are going to pick things up as we kick off our NTDP series for the 2023 selection of guys, starting it out with one of the most interesting prospects of this year's selection. He's a player that will dazzle you with his dangles and his passing. His playmaking in the offensive zone is exquisite, and he's a guy that you could probably pick up somewhere in the top 10. Let's head over to Lexington, Massachusetts and talk about Will Smith. And yeah, all G.I. Jane jokes aside, we had to get Will Smith's name out of the way because, we're talking about an 18-year-old hockey player, not an Oscar winner. That's actually coincidentally banned from that event. But either way, Will Smith has been playing out at the USNTDP this season, and he's set to be going over to the Boston College Eagles program next year. Whether or not he makes the NHL jump the year after his freshman season, it remains to be seen, but for now, this appears to be the path. He is, at the time of recording this audio, an 18-year-old, 6 feet, 172-pound center who is a right-handed guy. Now, he recently turned 18. He was born on March 17th. So, it's been literally a week since the guy's birthday, so happy belated over there to Will Smith. But despite the fact that he has been 17 for the majority of the season, he still had an incredible year with the NTDP. In 49 games played, the guy has 39 goals and 61 assists for 100 total points. In fact, if you go over to the record books and you see guys in the NTDP from 2013-14 up until now, and you sort by only 17-year-olds, Will Smith literally had the second best season this program has ever seen, behind Jack Hughes. You have Smith outscoring his own teammate, Gabe Perreault, who also deserves a Why I Want video. He'll probably get one later in the season. But these two together have outproduced Austin Matthews, which is interesting to note because Matthews did do this season in his draft -1. He did go over to Switzerland for his regular draft year. But Clayton Keller, when he was a 17-year-old guy, had fewer points per game than Will Smith does. Alex Turcotte as well, in his draft year wasn't as productive. Same could be said about Cole Caulfield. You could also say the same about Oliver Wahlstrom. Logan Cooley, even from last year, did not produce as much as Will Smith had this year. And Logan Cooley went 3rd overall in 2022. You also have other players like Trevor Zegras and Matt Boldy, both of whom are very good NHL players right now, who did not produce as well as Will Smith did. You also have to remember that when Hughes and Caulfield and Zegras and Boldy and Turcotte were playing together, that was kind of the thing. They were all playing together. The team they were on was so much better than the NTDP is right now. No disrespect to Will Smith and Perreault and everybody else on this year's squad, but Will Smith putting up these numbers on a team that does not have Cole Caulfield as your sniper is incredible in and of itself. And when you look at the tape, you acknowledge what it is that makes this guy so special out there in the ice, it becomes all the more reasonable to understand why he's able to get these amount of points in the first place. Will Smith, if I were to try to sum it all up in a pretty short amount of time, is a really nifty center with great dangles and an astute awareness of his teammates, resulting in excellent playmaking. The big thing that you'll notice every time you watch Smith tape is that he just kind of does whatever he wants in the offensive zone. He's so good at just exploiting open space, dangling by guys who are getting in his way, and at the very last second, throwing it behind his back, no look to a guy that's wide open on the opposite side on a clean passing lane. His awareness of where everybody is on the ice in the offensive zone is so pristine and polished that you'll see so many of these assists just being last-second cross creases or plays where you think he's going to walk in with the shot, but nah, he throws it to the guy who's wide open, nobody's got him, and that other guy buries destroys it instead. He is such a manipulative playmaker, and now he's able to exploit teammates who are open. Not to mention that Smith himself can be a versatile shooter when he wants to be. He can shoot the puck in a variety of ways, and he doesn't necessarily need a big windup to get a shot to go in. He's not the hardest shooter in the world, he doesn't have the most power, but he does have a lot of finesse, accuracy, and let's just say technique behind every shot that he takes, that he's able to produce a whole bunch of goals as well. It's why this season he was able to get those 39 goals in 49 games, which if you really think about it, that's a pretty good goal rate in and of itself. Will Smith right now is ranked to go in the consolidated 6th overall spot. You've got scouting outlets like Elite Prospects ranking him as low as number 9. People like Craig Button have him at number 6, McKeen's have him at number 5. The Hockey News and Sportsnet also have him at number 5. So realistically, you're looking at a guy that's probably going to go, let's say, 5, 6, 7 in the draft. Top 10 for sure, most likely not top 5, but sort of in that mid-tier. And it is kind of going to show how talented this draft really is when a guy like Will Smith, who is outproducing the 3rd overall Logan Cooley last year and who arguably looks like a better player, is probably not going to go 3rd overall this year. You've got so many guys at the top of this year's draft that would have been higher picks last year, maybe even 2 or 3 years ago too, that it kind of puts into perspective this 2023 selection of guys, man. You can't go out there and discredit them. This is also what I wanted to take a look at too, some expert analysis on this entire thing. MyNHLDraft.com has a few scouting reports from different outlets on Will Smith. Tony Ferrari of the Hockey News says that Smith is a slick dual-threat attacker who can create offense for himself and his teammates. When Smith is cutting and dashing through the middle of the ice, he draws attention as defenders feel the need to assist their teammates, who are generally a step behind and making a desperation play themselves. Sam Constantino says the brain and feet work really well to allow him to continuously play at a high pace. That doesn't tell you anything about the player, but still. Austin Garrett on Smart Scouting says that Will Smith in the offensive zone with the puck on his stick is a defenseman's ankle's worst nightmare. His ability to use a small area skill to dangle through and around defenders is one of the best in the class. Corey Pronman of The Athletic says he has a lot of individual skill and is a strong skater. He's able to beat a lot of defenders one-on-one and can break shifts open. Smith is a high-end playmaker who can make a lot of difficult plays on the move. Sticking with The Athletic, Scott Wheeler said this: Smith is one of the very best slot passers in the draft and uses impressive puck-handling ability to dodge closeouts and weave off on the wall, and make plays through holes in coverage and possession with ease, regularly hanging onto pucks to delay and fake his way into spots. He's the guy from the NTDP in this year's draft that if he doesn't have an opportunity available to him, he'll hold on to the puck a little bit more, maybe do a few quick stick handles to dangle a guy out of position, shimmy and shammy his way over to the open space, and exploit it that way. He is so calm, and he has such an if-then sort of way of thinking about the game. If this lane is blocked off, then I'll just go over to the side here. If I draw everybody to me, then it leaves a guy behind me wide open to pass it back door, and he's got a wide open one-timer into the open net. That's kind of the way that Will Smith perceives the game around him, and it's so projectable towards the top level because even though the NHL has limited time and space compared to where Smith has been playing this season, you still have that awareness in the offensive zone as to where everybody is, and with time, this could allow Will Smith to become one of the best playmakers out of this draft. I think if I were to try to put a label on it and try to project where he could go, I personally think that if Will Smith hits his absolute peak ceiling, his goal scoring translates to the NHL, his playmaking takes a step up, and he's able to manipulate the offensive zone in the NHL like he has been against these NCAA and USHL teams, then you could be looking at a 20-goal, let's say 50 to 60 assist type of guy every given year if everything works out. Sure, prospects can go out there and surprise you more. If Will Smith maybe gets 100 points in a season, then hey, cool, good for him. I'm not going to complain if anybody exceeds the expectations that I bestow upon them based off of what I think their ceilings are, but of course, this is all just my personal opinion on if everything goes right. Things could very well not go right. Will Smith could phase out after his BC days and maybe max out as a 20-point guy. Who really knows? It all depends on who takes him in this year's draft and how they decide to develop him, because at the end of the day, this is a very capable, dangly type of player who's got a really good mind in the offensive zone. You just got to go out there and expand on that and allow him to take those skills and translate it against competition that's bigger, stronger, older, and tougher, like you'll find in the National Hockey League. So, Will Smith is a prospect that'll likely be taken somewhere in the top 10. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments if you want your team to take this guy. If you're a Canucks fan, a Wings fan, a Canadiens fan, or any other fan, what are your thoughts on taking Smith with your first round pick? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.